Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good evening wherever you are. The stream will go ahead and get started here in about 13 minutes or so, but if anybody has any questions or comments or anything, feel free to type them in the chat and I'll respond to you as soon as I can. Good evening, everybody. Certainly appreciate y'all being here. We'll get started here in about 10 minutes or so. In the meantime, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them. My personal playthrough is progressing quite a bit. It's obviously a little bit slower since I'm recording every single minute of it and trying to go through side quests and all that sort of stuff to put up guides as we go along. So we should be expecting some of those to be posted here fairly shortly as well. But yeah, I'm anxious for the stream tonight. Going through the Mantis quest is always fun here, especially when it's so early on in the game for us. As soon as we got off of last week's live stream, I went and did a playthrough of the Mantis quest to see if it was going to be possible this early on in our leveling process, and with a little preparation, I think we're going to be alright tonight. It is going to be difficult. We're going to have to take it slow, but I think we'll be alright. But the reward at the end of it for level 6 is really, really good. And will carry us through for quite a while. Oh, hey, Chibi. Thanks for being here tonight. No, I appreciate that. No worries. I'm enjoying both games. So there's a lot of video game playing going on between basically 5 different playthroughs of the 2 games going simultaneously. But yeah, I'm enjoying them both. And like I say, hopefully, people are gaining information from them, whether it's new ways to do things or things that they didn't get on their initial playthroughs, or things that they're going to make sure that they go back and get on the playthroughs they're in. That's kind of the goal here. So I'm hoping it's beneficial to everybody. I know the stream's later in the evening here on Wednesday, and I wish I had additional time to move this into the weekend. So I know our viewership is going to be down, because especially for our European and overseas viewers, it's really late or the middle of the night now, and I wish I could move it to another time, but with my Sundays all completely taken up, I don't think I can handle talking for 9 hours on a Saturday to do 3 live streams. So had to move one of them to during the week after I get home from work. So, but for those of you here, thank you very much. I certainly do appreciate it. And I do hope that everybody who's playing Starfield has downloaded the update, applied it. It wasn't a very big update, but it did affect 3 different quests and then some behind the scenes stuff with minor improvements for crashes and frame rates and that sort of stuff. We'll talk about it in the admin notes when we start. Chibi, well, thank you very much for being up early. I am not a morning person, so I do appreciate you being here. Yeah, it's been quite a week for the updates here for Starfield, with Nvidia making their announcement about their driver update, and then Bethesda putting out the game update this week. And hinting about some other stuff that's upcoming in the game, which has caused a bit of controversy about the game, but alright, we're gonna get ready to get started here. I'd be interested to know how many people here have NVIDIA GPUs and Intel CPUs, as opposed to AMD CPUs and or GPUs. That's one of the big controversies that's come out here since the game is released, and what NVIDIA tried to address today, or this week. I have an NVIDIA 3080 Ti, but then I have an AMD, I think it's 5900X processor. So I'm kind of crossing the lines there between the two, and that's what they're trying to close the gap in the performance that's been found here over the days since launch. Alright, we'll go ahead and get started here. And again, everybody, thanks for being here and welcome. I certainly appreciate your viewership this evening. Welcome everyone to today's live stream, which is episode 3 of our Starfield gameplay series. I'm Commander Jarval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, I guess first of all, and Exip, thank you for being here as well. I certainly appreciate it. So, it's been an interesting week for Starfield. One of the first things to go over is the whole Digital Foundry investigation into what they called a noticeably, or they used a different term, worse experience on NVIDIA and Intel hardware. NVIDIA GPUs and Intel CPUs seem to have a large disadvantage when it comes to frame rate and overall performance compared to AMD GPUs and CPUs, and that's because of Bethesda's partnership with AMD through this. And according to Digital Foundry, that could be up to a 46% difference in performance, which is massive. And to help address some of that, a couple of things have happened. First, NVIDIA released an over-the-air update for their driver, which is supposed to help improve frame rates on their 30 series and 40 series cards. I have a 3080 Ti, so it did apply to me, and it was an automatic download when I started up. So it went through and applied it. I have not seen a huge increase in frame rate because of it. It's more along the lines of 5 to 8%, give or take, here and there. So not a massive increase for me just because of it, but anything is obviously better than nothing. And then Bethesda did release their patch today, their 1.7.29 patch, which, according to them, it had fixed some stability issues on Xbox Series X and S, but also a rather vague statement to improve various stability and performance related things to reduce crashes and improve frame rate. Don't know exactly what that is, or what it's done. I have not been able to test that exclusively to find out what it is, but to say that the community is fairly divided over all of this news is an understatement. And there's been a lot of backlash for it, and the review bombing that's happening on Metacritic and things like that. So I'm not one to, delve more into all of those things one way or another. For me, I'm enjoying the game. If the performance improves, it improves. If it doesn't, it still seems to be working fine for me, even on ultra settings. Well, it's playable for me, even on ultra settings. I do notice some lag here and there in certain locations and certain things, but I could drop the detail level to improve that. However, for those people who it's performing suboptimally, I certainly understand your pain, and I hope that things get worked out so that it's a more uniform experience across different hardware platforms. But we'll see how it goes. So, on that note, remember that if you do have an NVIDIA 3080 30 series or 40 series card, be sure to make sure that the NVIDIA driver has been updated automatically. And then also make sure that you've downloaded and installed the latest patch from Bethesda today. It also included patches to 3 quests that are listed in the patch notes. And so those basically led to quest blockers where you might be able to do something and then you just wouldn't be able to finish it. And the quest would halt, which is no fun for anybody. The second big thing is that Bethesda did release, as a prelude to their patch notes, that there are going to be some community requested features that are going to be coming up in regular updates. And honestly, them posting this has led to a lot more backlash from the community, because for most of the community, these things should have been included in the release version. These are standard things that are in most other AAA titles. So listing them out that they weren't part of, well, we already knew that they weren't part of the release of the launch version, and then saying that they were going to be added into a regular or in an update in the future just kind of upset people a little more. But they're going to be adding brightness and contrast as well as HDR calibration, an FOV slider, which every other AAA game has, and this doesn't. Support for NVIDIA DLSS, which obviously is a well-adopted platform. And then ultra-wide monitor support. That's 6 of one, half dozen the other. Games are slowly adopting that more and more now. But throwing that all out there, and then at the very end saying that there would be a special button just to allow you to eat food. It was like, come on, Bethesda. I mean, the bunch of things that you should have had in there at the start, and then you're telling us that one of the top community requested features to be able to eat food with a button. It was kind of interesting to say the least. They also mentioned, of course, that they are working on their built-in mod support, the creation studio, basically, that we've had with Skyrim and Fallout 4 in the past. And their support for that. The modding community is obviously, just like they did for Skyrim, stepping up and filling the void that Bethesda has left in their games. And Yes, just as Exip has said, there are mods out there that allow you to edit in the DLSS framework as an add-on to be able to utilize it with your NVIDIA graphics cards and stuff like that. So for now, the modding community, third-party individuals are stepping up to fill the void once again. We can only hope that Bethesda will be more proactive in the future with these things. However, we've seen this in the past with Skyrim getting an anniversary edition, and a bunch of the things that were in the unofficial mod patch that was put out by somebody still weren't picked up in the full version of that game. So we'll kind of see how it goes. I'm crossing my fingers, but still a lot to enjoy in Starfield. But just be aware of the updates that are happening right now, because like I say, I certainly am enjoying my playthroughs. And any more updates and benefits we get from Bethesda on it, I will just welcome those in and continue playing. So I think that's about it for our admin notes. So on our recap, we finished up last week by working through the early story mission, the early main quest mission, and then we finished up the last 15 minutes or so with just a quick side quest, and that side quest is not done. It's just kind of on hold for now while the game timer progresses. And as part of last week, we picked up a slate regarding a secret outpost, and that opened up the Mantis quest line. And we are very early in our playthrough at level 6 here, and we're going to head out and explore that quest. So the Mantis quest is here. We've read the slate, and it tells us to go to the secret outpost at Denebula 1B. Now, as I said, at level 6, heading out and doing this, the rewards are going to be great for us. However, we are going to be encountering up to level 30 enemies inside of this quest. So we are fairly under-leveled when it comes to that. However, there are some preparations that we can do to make things a little bit easier for us here. And as part of that, I'm going to start with our inventory. So last week, we went over and used a large amount of credits to pick up the Marksman AA-99. This is one of the best early game weapons to have along with you on this quest. The ammo is pretty rare, and you need to make sure you have at least a couple hundred rounds of it with you to be able to cause a lot of damage at long range. Being at long range from these high level enemies is going to be very important for you during this quest. Except I'm on keyboard and mouse. I don't utilize controller for this. I don't necessarily mind using controller for a lot of things, but here the precision aiming and movement, I think I'm much better served with mouse and keyboard. But yeah, I have a controller available and ready for me. I just didn't really care for it as much as I did mouse and keyboard when I tested it out. So, but having the Marksman AA-99 with at least a couple hundred rounds, I think is one of those must-haves for this, and it's really easy to get. There are some guides out there which shows you going to some off-world locations and stealing some very specialty, high-end, legendary weapons and that sort of stuff. You don't need them, in my experience going through this. However, the Marksman AA-99 here is one of those things you can easily pick up right from the starting station and is going to be a huge help. The other thing is to get either a semi-automatic Grendel or a semi-automatic Maelstrom that has armor-piercing rounds. And that's because those two ammo types, the 6.6 and the 7.77 millimeter, you find those rounds a lot. And there are a lot of times when you'll be able to just sit behind cover and utilize one of those two, easily found weapons to take out enemies not having to deal from far away, and you don't have to waste your marksman AA rounds on them. So a combination of both of those, and you can just look through the shops and find a Grendel or a Maelstrom that's going to work for you. It doesn't have to be suppressed, but it does need to be semi-automatic and armor-piercing rounds to kind of cut through their armor as much as possible, and for semi-automatic, upping the physical damage per shot as much as possible. So easy things to get, but you do, I think, need to have those two things. The other thing that you need to have are, that you need to have are fragmentation mines. 2 fragmentation mines, there's one specific hallway with one specific enemy that if you don't have the mines is going to be very, very hard to get through. The enemy has a lot of hit points, it hits really, really hard, and you're stuck in a hallway where you can't really run away from it. And even having a companion with you, having a couple of fragmentation mines in that hallway where it can run right through them, cause a lot of damage, and then while it's stunned, being able to kill it is really just a must-have. So carry at least a couple of fragmentation mines along with you, and make sure that those are equipped in your inventory so that you'll be able to throw them out there when we get to that point. The other thing that we're going to do is make sure that we have a companion with us, and that companion is going to be Sarah. So we're going to go pick Sarah up and bring her along with us. Actually, I'll just fast travel to the lodge. If she is here or if she's on our ship, honestly, I can't remember which she was. But have a companion come along with you, and at this point in the game, it's just easy to have Sarah be along with you, and yeah, she's on our ship, which is good. So we're going to just fast travel to our ship here. And we'll just verify that she's here with us. Yes, she is. So we're just going to talk to her really quickly.
Yeah, what is it? I'm right behind you.
And make sure that she's an active companion for us. Okay. And now we are going to head out to the location. Now the location is up here. Here's Denebola. But you can see that we need to go through a few other systems to get there. So this is because our ship, the Frontier, does not have enough jump range to get there on its own in a single jump. So we're going to have to micromanage our jumps a little bit. And we want to do this in a smart way, because it is possible jumping into, especially Parima here, that you might get jumped by pirates. And Parima is a level 30 system, and you don't want to get into a ship fight with pirates at that level. You want to get in and get out as quick as you possibly can. So we're going to go in and jump to Olympus here. Disappointed I can't throw tomatoes at people. I know, not being able to throw food is a thing. So we're not going to care about any of our weaponry here. We're going to put everything that we can into our grav drive, and what that does is that shortens the amount of time it takes for the countdown timer to count down to 0 and launch. And then we can head to Volley. And you see that there is a pause that you can't, but then it's less than a second for the countdown timer to work. And that's important. You can't get, once you jump into a system here, you can, well, here we're not going to be able to jump out until we get the contraband scan. But you get this starting screen here, or this pause, and then you can jump out. And as soon as the timer allows it to start counting down, that's what you want to do. So now we have to manually jump to Parima here, and here's where things can get a little dangerous. And then you see after you tell it to jump, there's that mandatory timer before the countdown starts. And all during that time, you can be shot by pirates. Okay, so here we're okay in Parima. And now what you want to be able to do is jump into Denebula. However, if you get jumped by pirates in Denebula, you want to immediately turn around and jump back out. It doesn't matter where you go, just get out of the system. What we're aiming to do is jump in here and have nobody there so that we can land at the outpost.
I apologize for coming over this emergency channel, but we are in need of assistance concerning the large ship in orbit, and we value discretion in this matter.
Okay, so I'm going to be ready to hit the map key.
Navigational feedback checks out. We're in the right place.
Okay, so looks like we're okay. There are no pirates here, so now we can go ahead and land. And you can see there's a secret outpost here. Now, when you land, you're immediately going to be faced with some small confrontations that you can manage as long as you're, like I say, doing it a little safe here. So we're going to get up. We're not necessarily going to exit the ship yet. And just make sure that we're all prepped and ready to go. So we've got the best, we're wearing the best helmets that we have. Chameleon is not necessarily, it's not 100% necessary, it's just nice. But you don't have to have Chameleon. Your regular Constellation Space helmet at this point will work. Okay, we've got our weapons equipped. And we want to verify that Sarah has an Equinox.
Glad to
I'm pretty
hold
sure she
whatever you
does,
need.
but we'll just check it. Yes, she's got a modified Equinox. So that's a laser weapon, and her laser skills are beneficial to that. So now we can head out.
Should be plenty of organic materials to harvest from this world.
Get the hell out or we'll kill you.
and Ian, yeah, there's actually funny. There's a mod out there.
Get the hell out now. 3, 2,
Okay, so you did hear the pirates there. They're warning us to get out. You can see on our threat detector that we do have some pirates out here. And if we zoom in, you can see them out here. They're patrolling around, and we're going to take these out from range, and we're going to make sure that we give Sarah the ability to move out of the bay here. But this is why you want the AA-99 with you. And yeah, and there's a mod specifically out there from a pretty famous mod maker for Skyrim that completely redoes the eyes on them. So yeah, and we talked about that in the intro, and it's pretty bad. Okay, so we're gonna wait for him to stand still, and then we're gonna pop off a headshot. Okay, so that one ended. Okay, so this spacer is down. Now he's out. Okay. So that will end that. Make sure that we reload, and again, we're going to be taking this fairly slowly as we go, and we're going to be picking up everything. So we're going to be severely overloaded by the time we're done with this, but that's perfectly fine. Like I say, in this game, there aren't a whole lot of disadvantages to being severely overloaded. So we're going to go around and loot everything that we see. And you don't have to stay in hiding throughout this section of it. Those three there are the main exterior guards in this early section here. You can walk around and explore the rest of this out here if you'd like. There's nothing out here to really loot or look at. Out here there might be, I can't remember if there's something over here. No, there's not. And now we can make our way up into this area. And once you get about halfway through this, now you want to go into hiding. And you saw for a second that my hide bar turned orange a little bit. There are two different groups of enemies around this corner up here. There's one out here in this area that's patrolling around. And you can actually see one of them right there. And then there are two more down here. And you can see there's a level 30 spacer right there. So down here you can see there are two. There's actually a total of 4. There's 2 down here in this area, and there's 2 over here in this area. So we will wait for them to pop out, but I'm not going to worry about these 2 as much. They're shooting at me through a whole bunch of bars and everything like that. One of them is going to move up here into this area to try and shoot at me, but I want to focus on taking out the spacer here as quickly as I can. So I'm going to hold my breath and go for headshots here. Okay, there's the second one. I can shoot his pack. And yeah, shooting the boost pack is a good thing. And here you can see one of them is moved up here around this tower. Looks like they both have. There he is right there. Okay, so I'm just going to slowly move up here. Oh, okay, there we go. And those 4 are the only 4 outside here. So we can go over here and loot these 2. Alright, now we can head inside. Okay, so here we do have lockers and that sort of stuff that you can loot. One thing that's important to kind of help you with your looting is once you've opened up all of the doors and that sort of stuff, you can open your scanner, and your scanner is going to highlight all of the lootable objects so that you can quickly see what's available to be picked up and that sort of stuff to be able to prioritize what you're looking for. So don't forget your scanner. It's just with your scanner you can't open doors with it and that sort of stuff. and you can't unlock safes with it. You can unlock most boxes and crates except for weapon cases. You can't open those that have physical weapon models inside of them. But the scanner is very, very useful when you're looting. Okay, so this room is fairly benign, but you can see that we do have enemies, and you could actually see a helmet light. And that helmet light is actually clipping through the wall here. There's nobody in here, but they are behind this door here. Okay, and you can hear that the spacers are talking about it, that the Mantis is dead. Now, the thing that you want to do is we have an optional objective up there. Learn more about the lair of the Mantis, and you're going to learn about that from two different ways. The first is with these Leon slates.
Mantis? No way. I mean, the Mantis is a fairy tale. Someone to keep pirates from going off the deep end. I guess it's possible. She never talked about where she got her fortune. And man, she could handle herself anywhere. It's a lot to take in.
Okay, so it looks like his mom was the Mantis, and this is her son coming to investigate the lair, and that's what you're going to see has happened throughout this. Okay, so now I'm changing over to my Grendel, and I'm going to open this door here. Okay, and I'm going to let Sarah get involved here. And you see, Sarah does really well. So don't neglect her. This is why bringing her as a companion is so important. She is able to mag dump on these enemies and just completely destroy them.
Well, I suppose they're not going to need it anymore.
Okay, so we did pick up another slate. Okay, so talking about how there's some really good stuff in here. And it talks about somebody named Livy, that we need to stay off of Livy's radar. And then there's also this blue icon here on this message.
You're doing well, Leon. Almost there. I know. Things have been difficult. The mantle of the Mantis is a heavy burden. But you can do so much good. The spacers and pirates need someone to fear. Someone to check them. To make them realize some lines cannot be crossed. You have it in you, Leon. I know you do. Stay sharp. Focused. Just a little further.
Okay, and I don't know why she's using...
I'll only carry the good stuff.
Thank you for pointing your
Just
pistol
kidding.
at me. She's not using the Equinox. I don't know why she's defaulted to the pistol. Normally she picks up the Equinox instead, but she seems to be doing okay with the damage here, so we'll see how it holds up throughout this. And yes, you don't get XP for anything that she kills, but on this particular quest, it doesn't matter to me as much as actually finishing the quest. And having her additional firepower there is... But I thought we'll come back around the corner just so we don't get ambushed here. Come here, Sarah. Thank you.
Yes? Bring me anything useful?
I thought the bee I guess it is B for her to equip it. I thought that B was to take it and for me to equip it. That's different than Skyrim, where they would just automatically equip what was best for them. Okay. Well, thanks, Except that works differently than I was expecting it to. So, okay. Good deal. Thank you. Okay, so now down in here, again, we're going to be approached with, or brought up in another room here, and he's going to be melee based. Yeah, and then see, she immediately got rid of the Equinox again. So yeah, something's weird about her equipping things. Not entirely sure what it is and why. Okay, and you can see that there's another slate there.
So I met with a lawyer and was prepared to party. Hard. The video will was emotional. Mom and I stopped talking years ago. Mom didn't look good. But it was Mom. As weird, crazy, and cryptic as ever. I'm almost surprised she remembered she even had a son. It was hard to hear. Almost touching. But then the punchline. No inheritance until I go to Mom's secret base on Denabolo 1B. And she ends not with an I love you or an I'm proud of you. No. Sic semper tyrannis. My God. Always with that stupid Latin saying. Over and over she'd say that damn thing. Thanks, Mom. Thanks oh so much.
Okay, so there was a clue in that slate. Sic semper tyrannis. The famous quote from John Wilkes Booth when he assassinated Abraham Lincoln here in the United States. And that becomes, they've stressed it. They obviously stressed it over and over again inside of that. And during that slate, it kind of emphasized it, so you should pay attention to it. And that will become more important as we go through this here. So there is an expert lock here. As we've discussed previously, I'm still at rank 1. I need to pick 4 more locks to be able to open up expert locks. And you can come back here afterwards and open these things up if you would like. It's not necessary for you to do it. Oh, and I will open up my scanner and just look through here and make sure there was nothing else laying around, and there's not. You were able to pick up a single fragmentation mine here. You can also pick up
Why are you
these
bothering
2
to carry all that junk?
vials as well. And she does have ammo for the Equinox.
Can I help? If you have any gear you want me to haul, I'm happy to help.
She did. Her inventory is being very, very strange. Actually, I'll just give her about half of this. It doesn't matter.
Goodbye.
Yeah, and see, she's back to the pistol again.
Yeah?
Let's see if she
I'd
is
be
now,
happy
if
to
I
carry
can
a few
manually
things
equip
for
the
you.
Equinox and see if she will stay on it. Okay, whoops, console commands.
Bye.
Okay, so let's see if she stays on the Equinox now. Now we're going to head down here to the bottom of this, and we're going to start getting into a more protracted, drawn-out fight when we get down here. Okay, so again, as we go through here, and you can see that we're now getting down into another area where we have enemies here. And as long as we take it slow, we'll be okay. Okay, our next group of enemies is going to be down there and to the right. So we have some time here. Okay, so we're fine here. So now we're going to get ready for a more protracted fight. And then we never have enough duct tape. And in this one, you really want to be over there on the other side where there's some cover. There is cover here around this corner, but it's much better cover over here. So we're going to sprint across here and then take cover. And now you can pop around the side here. And again, just like we talked about the cover mechanic, if you're behind it and then you right mouse to aim down sights, it will pop you out of cover. And that's what you want to be utilizing here. Put him out of his misery. Now this spacer down here around the corner is always a little difficult. He tends to want to stay in cover around the corner here. So Sarah can cover from up top while I move down here. Okay, and Sarah is putting in some good work here. Most of the enemies are going to be down here, but you do have to watch your left flank here. Some of them will occasionally come from that direction. So you do want to watch your flank. Okay, so one more. Looks like he's gone back down around the corner down there.
I'm sure they had something we can use.
And sorry, while I was in the fight, I wasn't paying attention to chat very much. Yeah, so you can't go into hiding at all until you like Ian said, you can't go into stealth at all. You can crouch without it, but you can't go into hiding. As soon as you take level 1 of the skill, you get that hide meter up there at the top. Level 2, 3, and 4 will make it so that you're harder to detect and your sneak attacks do more damage, or your suppressed weapons do more damage. So here, suppressed weapons do an additional 10% sneak attack damage at level 2, and that just goes up to 20% additional damage with suppressed weapons. And that's why I try and get the assassin's version of the Grendel, is because right now I'm getting an additional 10% damage because I'm in hiding using a suppressed weapon. So, and there's... And he's kind of head glitched here. There we go. Trying to get some headshots, but he was kind of head glitched there. And don't be afraid to pop your healing kits, your med packs. Like I say, we are severely under-leveled here, so... Okay. So like I say, if you take it slow and you keep your distance, you're going to be fine. You just need to keep an eye on your health. You've got plenty of med packs. For now, as long as you can keep the enemies at arm's length, then you're going to be okay. It's when the enemies get into knife range with you that you're going to have problems, because then they will mag dump you. They will simply unload every bullet they have in a full mag on you, and at close range you're just dead. You're just gonna have to restart. That is what it is. So keep your distance and you'll be fine. Okay, and I will offload. I will take a second wherever Sarah is here to offload some gear to Sarah.
Something you need? Have something for me?
And the things that are taking up most of the weight are your spacesuits, helmets, and packs. Okay, but we are picking up a lot of weapons here. Not too worried about melee weapons and the shotguns and that sort of stuff.
So long.
And then we'll continue heading out. Now, most of your enemies have gone down
I've seen ships stripped down
that stairwell there.
after being ambushed by spacers.
And you can get some reloads on your med packs and that sort of stuff here in this room. What would be nice if there was an option when you hovered over them to hit a hotkey and have your companion take all of the items from them. That would be something very, very useful.
No way. I mean, the Mantis is a fairy tale. Someone to keep pirates from going off the deep end. I guess it's possible. She never talked about where she got her fortune. And man, she could handle herself anywhere. It's a lot to take in.
Okay, so now down here, you're going to have to start being a little careful about where you're going, because you're going to start running into places where enemies can approach you from multiple directions here. Okay, so you need to start making sure that you're paying attention to your threat meter and watching your flanks. Okay, make sure you're fully loaded on all of your weapons. Okay, so like I say, be sure to watch your threat meter down there, especially as we move into this room. Because we are going to move into this room. Okay, and kind of watching around, and we're going to move around to the left side over here, just where Sarah's going, so that we can get better line of sight on the room here. And I really want to be over here. And that's what's really nice about the semi-automatic weapons. Not only do they do more damage per individual shot, but you're able to control the recoil much better.
Let's do this.
Okay. So that's going to clean out this room. The hostile indicators you're getting are from Livy down there. There are a couple of turrets, but they're not hostile to you inside of this room. We have another expert lock here on the safe, which again, we can't do anything about. Can't unlock that, but we can stock back up on med kits and that sort of stuff here as well. And what we're going to do here is just kind of walk around the outside first. And yeah, that's, and you'll see me only looting the bodies and any credits and that sort of stuff from chests. The things that are going to earn you your money, at least in the early game, are your helmets and your armors and your weapons especially. I normally don't spend a whole lot of time going through all of these. There is occasionally some food that are sitting on these people that I'll just pick up anyway, just because I quickly hit E to take everything as I go through it. But yeah, most of the stuff that you're going to pick up off the bodies, you can turn around and sell for a decent amount of credits. The rest of the stuff laying on the ground, don't really worry about it. So here's another recording here. Okay, so you can also read through some of these. So to learn more of the backstory here about what's going on, we've already listened to these two here. And there are a couple of other crates And sealant's a crafting item. After a while, you'll realize what is what and what needs to be picked up and what doesn't. But yes, any crafting items and that sort of stuff, I pick up regardless. And that's just because I end up storing all of those. Okay, and like I say, there are a couple of turrets here, but they're not active. They're not doing anything to you. And then we have Livy.
Wait, don't shoot! I am unarmed. Look, we can help each other. I can be useful. Just don't kill me. Livy, and I mean you, no harm. This place was full of traps. Traps everywhere. I removed them. But this corridor is just too dangerous. See? Looks normal. One step inside, slam! You are trapped. And nobody's been standing after the doors reopen. No, sorry. If I tell you that, then I lose my leverage. They're ingenious. Took a lot of lives to tease them out. It's true. So many of my crewmates are gone. And this corridor is the worst. But I figured it out. There are letters on the floor. It is a grid. Those letters must spell something. But there are so many words or small phrases. 5, 6? It's hard to find volunteers. I really thought we had it with Mantis. Ah, poor Fred. Why does everyone always say that? See? I've been helpful. You could let me go. Or better, I can help. I know these traps. I know how this Mantis thinks. Please, let me help. And just give me a taste of the cachet inside. You can trust me.
I like to think of myself as a merciful person, and I love giving people the benefit of the doubt. But I don't know about this one.
Okay, so either way you play this, Livy's fate is sealed. He's going to die. It's just whether he dies at your hands or dies at the hands of something farther through the lair. I will say that if you kill Livy now, your journey through the final room of the lair is going to be significantly easier. However, with your companion, I don't think that even the additional enemies that are going to be found down there are going to be a serious problem to us. Especially with how the room is laid out. It makes it easier to do. So you're free to go whichever way you want to go here. If you attack him, he's level 1. He doesn't have a whole lot of hit points. He's just got a pistol. You'll be able to easily defeat him. I'm going to, if you choose just get out of here, I don't need you, he will get angry that you're trying to kick him out and he will attack you. So I'm going to let him get his just desserts by letting the lair kill him.
Spoken like a true spacer. You won't regret this. I will hold back here. And, well, good luck.
Okay. So one way or another, he's dead. And now we have a couple of things. So around the corner, there's a computer here with a master lock on it. It's going to be, you won't have access to master level locks through the skill. That's rank number 3 in the security skill at this point. But if you do this later, you can come in here and hack this computer to shut off the traps in here. However, we don't need to do that. What we need to do, however, is make sure that Sarah does not go walking with us.
Got something for me? Hurry back.
Okay. If she's walking with you, you are going to have problems in this room. So, looking at the room from up here, you can see that there are letters laid out on the floor. And remember the slate that was giving us overemphasizing sic semper tyrannis. If you look through it and you try and spell out sic or semper, you can't. The letters aren't here in those order. However, Tyrannus, T-Y-R-A-N-N, is in this room here, and that's what you want to spell out. So that's what the slate was trying to hint you toward, was to spell out the word Tyrannus.
Drag around all that gear.
So for here, you need to be very careful when you're walking and do a quick save before you do it, and walk over the T, the Y, the R, the A, N, I, and the last one is obvious because it's right in front of the stairs, but it's S. And now when you get up here and you hit the button, that deactivates the turrets that are here. There are 4 turrets up here, and if you step on a wrong letter, those turrets will activate and kill you. But now they're deactivated. You can go pick up Sarah again.
Lead the way.
And continue on. And you're going to see Livy take off here and get in front of us. There is another expert level lock over here with some crates in it that you can pick up if you, like I said, if you want to come back. And here goes Livy.
There will be traps, robots, complete turrets. Very dangerous.
Okay, so he's warning us about stuff that's coming up ahead of us, and this particular location here, you can see there's a turret Mark III right around the corner. Okay, and then we have another door down here at the end of this.
And that, my friend, is how we do things.
Okay, and one more reason to have a companion around is that they serve as bullet magnets or damage sponges. If you're going up against one of those robots by yourself, then you really need to retreat back up around the stairs and use the cover up there to do it. If you've got a companion with you, then you can just stand here and back up behind them like this, and the robots will shoot at them instead of you. Okay, so one more reason to have a companion with you.
Set aside anything useful and just leave the rest.
And now we get to this corner here. And this corner here, Livy is going to take off. Okay, he's going to go down there around the corner, and he's going to stand there, and there is your robot model S. That's a problem. Come here, Sarah. Okay, the robot model S is a bullet sponge, and it will melee you straight in your face. Okay, it will run up to you incredibly fast, and it will just bust you up and kill you. So what you need to do is wait for it to go back up there. It's going to head over to the right. Once it heads over to the right, throw a couple of mines out here. Switch to your highest damage weapon that you have. And be prepared to get in some headshots here. Okay, you want to get in as many headshots as you can. Once it runs down the stairs and hits those mines, it's going to take a lot of damage, about 2/3 of its, or about half of its hit points. And it will be stunned. And when it's stunned, then you can switch to your short range, up close Grendel and finish it off. But if you don't have the mines there, it will just run straight down, no matter how much damage you're trying to cause it, get right in your face and just melee you to death. So this is easier if you kill Livy, because he's not standing there. And when it comes down the stairs, you have a better chance of you have a better or a more easy way to get headshots on the dog when it comes running down the stairs. But with Livy there, it's not a big deal. Okay, it normally doesn't take this long to come back. The dog has a patrol pattern up there. And it would be just my luck that I would run out there to see where it's going, and it would immediately come around the corner. There it is. Okay, so here we go.
Not gonna last much longer.
Okay, so there it is. It's stunned. And we still took one hit from it. And it can't one-shot you, but it will two-shot you. And that is the one single sticking point encounter in the lair here. Is that one encounter with that robot. The rest of it, you can manage. Okay, now that it's clear in here, Livy is again going to take off. And he's going to get himself into trouble.
Thank you! Now the treasure of the Mantis will be mine! It will be... Wait, turn off! Turn off!
Okay, so he's dead. Things didn't work out well for him. And now we'll finish clearing the rest of this out. Now here, that door's the way that we're going to go. This is the way that we will come up from the lair when we're done. And again, I'm going to offload some stuff to Sarah here.
Something you need? Let's see what you've got.
Okay, so she can't carry anymore, and we're still overloaded.
Time to
So
go?
all that really means is, again, that we need to pause occasionally and let our O2 come back. Because just walking around will deplenish our O2. You can see it going down in the corner over there. So just walking around will deplenish it. Okay, so now we get into the main room over here. And you can actually see... Nope, you can't here. But right there is the Mantis's ship, the Razorleaf. We're going to end up taking that with us when we leave. In this room, your enemies are around over here to the left and down this flight of stairs from us. So normally they will stay down there in that area.
Leon, you've done it. We're here. The lair now belongs to you. Inside, all you need of that. My darling boy, I haven't been the best mother in these final days. I wish. Be a
Okay,
better
so it...
Mantis. Be a better person than I was.
Okay, so it looks like Livy did not trigger the other enemies. If Livy triggers the other enemies, then you will have 2 more robot-type A's that come out down there, and you will have another type S, the robot dog, as well. But they will tend to stay down here in this area, and it doesn't look like they have spawned. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to walk easy and take it easy just in case. I am getting some more enemy notifications with my... Okay, so there's the A. So it looks like they did spawn. They just took a while to come out. And again, keep your health up. There's nothing serious about this if you don't panic. And see, even the robot type S is going to... Ooh. Okay, so now it's just the Type S that's left. Okay, but again, it's not rushing you. It is staying down here. And that's it. Okay, everything in here is now yours. So celebrate the fact that you are now the new Mantis. Yeah, it got a little bit sporty when one of the robots decided to jump up here. That's actually the first time I've seen it do that. Normally, if you're standing or if you're crouching here, you can see through this little gap and shoot the robots as they come up. But if one of them decides to jump on top of these crates, they can see over the cover. So that caused a problem for me there for a little bit. But yeah, just take it slow and you'll be okay. So there are some items. We're gonna take it a little bit slow and just kind of walk around out here. There's not a whole lot, but there are some crafting supplies and that sort of stuff out here to pick up. But the main thing is, now that we've cleared it out, hit this switch. There's nothing you can do with the ship down here right now, but you need to hit this switch to raise the ship up through the landing pad to the outside. Okay, then there's a storeroom in here. I don't think there's anything in this storeroom. There's not. And then you get back into the main living area section in here. And here you learn a little bit more. She's implemented this scorched earth warning, but then Dorian was talking about anybody who makes it in here, a little bit of the history of the Mantis and what they were trying to do and that sort of stuff. She talks about how she, became the Mantis and what she did with her time, as the Mantis. And then she talks about her son and how she was diagnosed with a disease and only had 1 year to live, and she was trying to pass this on to her son as the successor, but her son got killed trying to get in here. So we are now taking over the mantle of the Mantis. Now in here, don't forget to pick up, there's always a different suit down here. It could be a bounty hunter suit, it could be a Tracker's Alliance spacesuit, but either way, it's a really hefty suit and it's worth a lot. So you want to make sure you always pick it up here.
If you're overloaded, we should stop and prioritize what we're carrying.
And then you get into the main room here and you can do some searching around the outside. There's another locked crate, and here's a scientific crate, and this is going to have normally rare or legendary armor or weapons in it here. And we have all of our crafting benches in here, in her living quarters as well. Okay, now the thing that everyone's waiting for, and that's this case here. Now, you want to make sure that you have a save, either a quick save or a regular save, before you open this door. The armor pieces that are in here are legendary armor, but the traits that roll on them are generated whenever the door is opened. So you want to make sure that you have... Now, I'm not going to do it. Like I've said before, I don't save scum in my playthroughs, in my live streams. So I'm not going to do it. Whatever comes out of this is whatever I'm going to take. But for you, you definitely want to have a save before you open this door. When you open the door, it rolls the traits, and you can look and see what the traits are and see if you like them or not, and if you want to keep them or re-roll them. Okay, now you re-roll the entire set, so if you get a helmet that has something that you like on it, but the armor itself doesn't, then you're going to re-roll the armor as well as the helmet. So for me, again, it doesn't really matter, but for you, make sure you save scum that, basically. For me, I got Beast Hunter, which is not really useful. Antiseptic, depending upon how much you use your boost pack and whether or not you want to put skills into the boost pack, can be very useful. Reactive is not really very useful at all. For For my pack, I got ablative or ablative, minus 15% incoming energy damage, which is nice. Those things like equinoxes and things like that, this is minus 15% incoming damage from those. There are a few other things that are much more useful here on the pack than that. Galvanized corrosive resistance doesn't really matter. It's not very useful. Incendiary, again, not very useful unless you're playing your melee-based type character. And then for the helmet, Technician, minus 15% damage from robots. That would have been nice to have a little bit ago. Galvanized, again, this does not stack. Only one of them stacks. And Incendiary, again, doesn't stack. So this was a horrific roll for all of mine. So not a great set of rolls here for my particular suit at this location. But it is what it is. Like I say, I'm not going to go back and save scum this, so I didn't get very good traits on this at all. But you will definitely want to save scum this on your playthroughs. Okay. So things that you're looking for are, you can get a carry weight trait, you can get a holstered trait, which means the weapons that you're carrying are 50% lighter, and weapons can be a significant portion of your carry weight, especially if you're utilizing some of the heavy weapons that are in the game that can weigh 15 pounds. That can cut them down to 7. You can also have combat veteran, which is minus 15% damage from human enemies and things like that. So you want to really go through those. Yeah, exactly. I rolled the nat 1 on the armor there, but you definitely want to go through and look for the good traits that you get. And if you get good traits on 2 out of the 3 pieces of armor, then that's really the best you can hope for. My personal playthrough, I got a really, really good roll on the first time. I didn't have to save scum it at all for my armor. This time, I just didn't. So it is what it is. So now that you're done in here, we still have an optional objective to learn more about the lair of the Mantis, and I think that's because I did read all of the notes, didn't I? Okay, so I must have missed one of the on-the-wall monitor things. So it's going to lead you back out here, and it's going to lead you to the elevator. Okay, and this door brings you right back up here into this area, and I think I've already read all these.
Almost there. I know. Things have been difficult. The mantle of the Mantis is a heavy burden, but you can do so much good. The spacers and pirates need someone to fear, someone to check them, to make them realize some lines cannot be crossed. You have it in you, Leon. I know you do. Stay sharp, focused, just a little further.
Okay, so I am trying to just quickly look and see. I'm not going to waste time walking around in there and finding it, but on the wall is another one of those automated messages, and you can complete the optional quest, learn more about the lair of the Mantis, by finding all of those. So it's not that hard if you pay attention when you're walking around. you'll find them. I just wasn't really paying as much attention as I should have, but you can spend a couple of minutes and just walk around back there and go find it. So since we are overloaded, again, we're just going to take a pause here. Yeah, I read through all of the slates. I just went through them all again to make sure, and I have read all the slates. There's actually one more wall intercom in there somewhere that I just didn't click on. But it's sitting right next to the side of a door, so when you're walking through the hallways, you'll find it. It's pretty easy. Can you shoot or turn off the lamps? No. I haven't been able to find any anyway. I've seen ones that are mounted like these that have been turned on, and I can't shoot those either. Not like the torches that you could turn off in Skyrim.
I think you need to get rid of some of that gear.
And that sort of stuff. Now, one thing I want to do here quickly is head back to the frontier and just make sure that I don't have anything stored in the frontier. And this is something that I forgot to check before I came in here. And running out of O2 is not going to kill you. Even if you run your CO2 up and you start taking damage, it will only damage you down to about 5% health. And then it won't damage you anymore. So it will never kill you. Okay, so I'm going to take all of my stuff out of the frontier. And then I'm going to head out to the Razorleaf. And that's because the frontier is no longer going to be my main ship. It's going to be the Razorleaf. Okay, now I'm going to be grossly overweight now because all of those resources are a lot. And the only thing that this means is that the more overweight you are, the faster your O2 drains and your CO2 builds up. But it refreshes at the same pace as it previously did, so it just means that you have to take more breaks as you're going through this. That's the only impact that it really has. And then once I get in here, I'll be able to store enough items here in the Razorleaf that I won't be encumbered anymore. So all I have to do is make it out here, and this is just, like I say, the price I pay for looting all of that armor and weapons, because again, it's a significant payday for being able to sell all of it. You don't have to. You could leave it all there and not be encumbered. You're just going to miss out on credits, and credits aren't really a big thing in this game. So for the Razorleaf, I'm not going to go through a full tour, but upstairs is your armory, so you can display weapons and armor up there. Be aware that if you store weapons and armor on the armor stands up there, and then you go into the cockpit here, and you go into the cargo hold and you take all, it's going to pull all of the things that are on the armor shelves or armor stands up there and put them in your inventory. So it's kind of a pain, but the things that you put in the chests on your ship here and in the armor stands up there count against the mass on the ship. So you can't store a bunch of things in one of the crates back there for free. it counts against the mass of your ship. And subsequently, if you go and take all at any point, all the stuff that's in any crate or in the armor stands is going to be taken and put in your inventory. So the armory on your ship is not very useful, in my opinion. Just because being able to take all from your ship and then head out and sell it is a much more useful thing for me than being able to display items and weapons and that sort of stuff. So you can see that the Tracker's Alliance spacesuit is actually has better stats. It's a significant increase to physical energy and electromagnetic resistance. You're going to lose a little bit in thermal and airborne resistance here, but it's a significant increase on all the others. It just doesn't have any traits. So if you had rolled a spacesuit with decent traits here, then even though the Tracker's Alliance spacesuit's going to have better numbers, you're still probably going to end up want to stick with the Mantis spacesuit here. But for me, it's a little bit backwards. So now here I can just store all of my other items here. And I think there's always a little bit of food here and there that I end up looting from the bodies. It's just one of those things. The big thing here are resources that I picked up from the ship. And all of the weapons. So I've got 13 Equinoxes, bunch of Grendels, bunch of other stuff here that I can just store. Okay. And now because I am carrying some additional things here, I wasn't going to put my Constellation stuff away, but now I can. And, oh yeah, my frag mines are taking up some more carry weight. But the rest of it... Oh, and I've got the ship parts. When you take all from the Frontier, you take the ship parts as well. And those are 10 pounds each, or 10 kilograms each, whichever way this mass thing works. So make sure you get rid of those, and then you'll be down to a reasonable carry weight. So now with Sarah, I can leave all that stuff on Sarah, and we can sell that stuff, or have her carry that stuff until we get somewhere, and then sell from the ship, and then take from her to sell it again. So that completes the Mantis questline. Now the ship that you were on, the Razorleaf, will actually go sit in the pilot seat here, because as soon as you do this, okay, as soon as you get into orbit from your ship, this is now marked as your home ship. Your previous ship is added to your fleet. You can access those anytime you want by going to the ship services guys, which are sitting next to the landing pads at all the major cities. And you can modify the Razorleaf. So okay, so for here you have one additional shield than previously. You also have higher inputs that you can make to your engines and your grav drives, as well as your laser, and you do not have ballistic weapons here. We can talk about this a little bit more once we land on the pad. The thing too that is another benefit from the Razorleaf is that now you are the Mantis, and what that means is that you are known throughout this portion of the galaxy as someone to be feared and respected. And because of that, when you get into combat with pirates, they will quickly realize who you are, and they will try and run. And that can be very, very beneficial when you jump into, say, a level 60 or 70 system and get jumped by pirates. They will become hostile, but then as soon as you start fighting with them, they will realize who you are, and they will turn and they will run. So it's a very interesting side benefit of having the ship. The other thing about it is that quirk or that trait of the Razorleaf stays with the Razorleaf even if you swap out all of the components. There's no component about the Razorleaf that if you get rid of, people aren't going to recognize you anymore. Because it is the Razorleaf, it's always going to have that. So you can upgrade the Razorleaf significantly and improve its effectiveness as far as its jump range and its combat effectiveness quite a bit, and still have that pirate trait go along with it. So it's a really cool early game ship to have. The other thing is something you've also noticed here is now, from where I was at Denebula, I can now jump all the way to Alpha Centauri in one jump. That is simply because I have a much larger jump range. You could see I could jump around that loop from Parima to Voli to Olympus all in one jump before I have to replot another jump. So you have significantly longer jump range with the Razorleaf than you do with the Frontier. So overall, everything about the Mantis Lair quest is an upgrade for you, from your armor to your ship. So it's definitely something that if you can get it early on, it's going to help you through a significant portion of the early game. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I've got it on my personal playthrough still, and I'm up to level 20, and I still haven't found better armor that drops consistently. Better than the Mantis armor that I have. So it's going to serve you for a long time in the early game. So I think that gets us to a good point where we can now head off to explore some of the other main quests here. And you get these 3 initial quests, which are the main quest lines. They have the constellation symbol. We also got another pop-up for Kelton Fresh. The time period has passed. This was the tree quest, and he wants to speak with us again. So that side quest is now popped back up. But I think we're going to head out and do the Back to Vectera quest. We know what Vectera is. We were there when we started, and I think this is a good place to pick up as we go forward here. So to do that, we need to head back to Narian and the moon of Vectera here, and back to Argos Extractors where we started. And again, we don't have to go through the whole jumping through systems thing or anything like that. We can just fast travel
It
there.
appears things have gone downhill since the last time you were here.
Well,
Argos
not
has
that.
clearly washed its hands of this operation.
Don't you Lin me. I thought things had already gone sideways, but no, that was just the beginning. More pirates showed up when you were gone. We weren't as lucky this time. Calvert, Troy, some of the new Dusties, they didn't make it. Well, how could you have? You weren't here. Anyway, I was pinned down behind some crates with Barrett. Bullets and laser fire everywhere. No smile on that damn carefree face of his. Like he knew this was it. I started steeling myself to go out fighting. Then that idiot puts his hand on my shoulder and says, "Stay here, Lin. I got you."
Not for them, anyway. Barrett is more dangerous than you might think. Next thing I know, 2 of the pirates are dead, and he's got the 3rd one in a headlock. Drags him out into the open at gunpoint and demands to talk, or else I'm going to demonstrate Newton's 3rd law on this guy's temporal lobe. And that's when they brought out Hela. I didn't overhear everything, but after the 10 longest seconds of my life, Barrett put his hands up, and both of them ended up getting taken aboard the pirate ship. And that's the last I saw of either of them. They could have grav-jumped anywhere. I tried pinging a transmission to the ship in the comms building before they left, but the pirates must have fried it. You want to try it? Go ahead. But the odds of them being alive, even if you could find them... I've lost a lot of people on this run, Dusty. I just want to pack up.
Okay, so things have obviously gone downhill. Well, I'll learn to speak English as my native language here pretty quick. Here at the old mining site. And we can go around and take a look to try and get this computer back online. Now the computer is in here in this building. We can go back and search the building that we were previously in. And you're free to come back and do this at any time. So once you get your lock picking up, there is a master level door in here that you can go through. The reason that you come back in here is because of these. Spread throughout the camp now are 5 of these emergency power cells. Okay. You need 3 of them to get the computer back online. So you can pick these up in various locations in here. And I can't remember off the top of my head where they all are, so I'm going to just quickly go. There's one here. And I think there's a 3rd one in here. I think it's over here on a shelf. Yes. Okay, there are 2 of them in the building with the computer in it. So you'll have to come back in here at some point to gather them. But if you want to gather all 3 of them here, you can. You also do not need to grab any of the power cells. There are 2 ways to get that computer back online. And one of them is with the security skill. If you have a rank in security right now, you're going to be able to use your security skill to bypass the lockout on the computer and get it available for you to use. So one quick thing, I do have 3 skill points. I've mentioned this before. I'm going to be a little judicious in how I spend my skill points, because you do have a realistically limited number of them, and you can't respec in the game at this point. So you need to focus on skills that are going to make your playthrough easier. And one of the things that I find to do in my personal playthrough is actually not to focus on the combat tree as much. I'm level 20. I don't have a single point in any combat skill in my playthrough so far, and I haven't had any problems with any of the quests or side quests that I've dealt with in the game. However, what I will end up doing is leveling up certain ones of these. I know that sniper rifle is something that I like to do, so scoped weapons, I'm going to have 50% more damage and a critical hit chance, and the scoped weapons are steadier and have less sway. So I know I'm going to be focusing on this as a big portion of my personal playthrough, and I probably will here as well. So that means I need to get 7 points. 4 here, or 3 here, 4 here to get to sniper certification down here. So I will probably focus on ballistics because most of the sniper rifles in this game are ballistic weapons, so I can level up ballistics to get it up. Then down here doesn't really matter as much, except most of them are rifles, so I can then focus on rifle certification for the next points, and then sniper certification. So that way I'm kind of, all of these are damage buffs for a specific type of weapon that I'm going to focus on. Focusing on all the different combat skills is just going to end up being a waste of your limited number of skill points. Your physical tree, your social tree, and depending upon how much you want to mod your weapons, the science tree are, in my opinion, the ones where you want to focus the most, because weapon engineering and spacesuit design can add some serious modifiers to your armor and weapons to help them perform a lot better. But you need to have 4 points up here first, and then out of these, medicine, allowing your med packs to heal you more and faster, is very useful. So as you go through these, think about how you want to allocate your points and go from there. So right now I definitely want to upgrade my stealth meter. That's going to get me 50% more difficult to detect, and another 10% sneak attack damage. And then my commerce skill is another one that I want to focus on. Right now I'm rank 1, but to rank up I need to sell 25 unique items. This is what I was talking about earlier. For rank 2 you need to sell 75 unique items, and for rank 3 you need to sell 150 unique items. So unique items are all of that random crap that you see laying around on shelves and stuff in there. So once you're trying to level up commerce, start picking up all of the random stuff that's sitting around. Okay, so we're going to pick up some random things in here just so we can level up our commerce skill when we get back. It doesn't matter how much they cost. It's not money based, it's unique item based. So in here, all these things like plants and pens and all of this stuff, just start picking them up. Now some of these things, adaptive frames and isocentered magnets, are crafting supplies, but folders, all of this stuff, just start picking them up. Okay, picked up a book. Okay, and again, I can't open doors when you're in the scanner view. Okay, and there's another emergency power cell you can pick up. There's a lot of crafting supplies in here, so don't forget those. I try and go around and open up all of these, but yeah, left slipper and right slipper, those are 2 different unique items. So like I say, just pick up everything that's highlighted, just so you can sell it off here in a little bit. Now here there's a control room key, which you're going to need. Whoops. Okay, it's an expert lock. I can't open it yet. And there's the second emergency power cell in here. And now these supply shelves are a great source of unique stuff. all these things that are labeled as a folder you might think are all the same, but when you go to sell them, you'll see that there are actually differences between a lot of them. Okay, so now basically I'm a trash collector. I'm dumpster diving this place. But this is an easy way to get your commerce skill up to level 4 very quickly. Is just roam through these starter areas and pick up everything that's outlined in blue.
All that junk you're holding is seriously slowing you down.
Okay, so now here you need to get into this room, and this is unlocked with that key that you picked up a second ago. Okay, now here the computer is unpowered. However, with the security skill, you have an option to pull out the data storage. So if you have at least one level in security, you can bypass using the power cells. Since we already picked up the power cells, we're going to insert them here.
Out the grav jump calculations before we're out of range. Out of range of what? Out of range of the sensor array on Vectera. Would you keep up? Once we're outside the star system, the bandwidth goes from instant speed to effectively never.
What good is sending a transmission down there? You gonna tell Lin how royally screwed we both are? She doesn't even have a ship.
You underestimate how many of my admirers there are in the galaxy, Heller. One of them is bound to show up, looking to reunite with this handsome face.
We're doomed. Capital D, doomed.
Got it, okay. Whoever finds this, I'm attaching the interstellar coordinates to the metadata on the transmission. Rescue us. Repeat, rescue us.
Okay, so that emergency transmission advanced the quest. You can also read the incoming ship logs. And there were a couple of pirate ships that came in, and then this is us. Now we can head back outside and talk to Lin again.
So, you actually get that computer working again? What? Let me see that. Funny. Even knowing he's alive, I still never want to see him again. Heller, on the other hand... Okay. Let me send you the location data embedded in the transmission. Find them, okay? What? Really? Not really cut out for whatever it is people like you and Barrett do. But it might not be a bad time to think about a career change after all this. If you have room in your crew for an outpost supervisor, maybe we can talk. Be a while before Argos comes to pick me up. I'll be here if you need me. And hey, if you ever need a little extra help, I've been thinking about a career change lately. Maybe it's time to put Argos behind me.
Okay, so now you have an optional quest to be able to recruit Lin.
Seems like you've been keeping busy, Dusty. If, you find yourself in need of a capable traveling companion, we should talk. My contract's up with Argos, and I could use a change of scenery.
Okay, and it tells you what her skills are. Mainly based around outpost management and that sort of stuff. So you have the option here to bring her on.
Works for me. I'm not fussy about assignments. I'll go where I'm needed.
Okay, so right now, Sarah is assigned to the Razorleaf. The Razorleaf only has 2 spots available to us. Supervisor Lin, and the ship is getting benefits from her astrodynamics, lasers, and her leadership skill. However, Lin is really outpost based, so assigning her to your ship and taking up that second spot isn't really going to do anything. You certainly could, if you'd want, but leaving her unassigned right now isn't going to affect anything. She's part of your crew. I just don't have any outposts to assign her to. So right now, I'm just going to leave her unassigned and leave that other crew slot in the Razorleaf open and available to be used.
Right. I'll get to work. Let's catch up later.
So now it wants us to travel to Polvo. And again, a couple of different ways to go about getting to Polvo. Oh, yeah. I need to be on my ship. And I'll unload all of this stuff on my ship here before I take off. And yes, I do have a jetpack. It just doesn't do a whole lot on this world because I can't stay airborne very long.
Let me know when you're ready to launch.
The jetpack, it really helps expand your
Good luck finding Barrett. Keep an eye
your
out for Helen
walking
while you're
range and your O2. Okay, Lin, can you please move out of the way? Thank you. When you're on low G planets. So here I'm going to... Whoops, this is the Razorleaf. So all this miscellaneous stuff that I picked up, I'm just going to send it all... Not my Digipix. Okay. So I did... What else did I pick up? I can put all of... Oh, the container's at its max carry weight. Okay. So I'm going to be kind of stuck here. So it's probably a good idea if I go sell off. Since Sarah's at her max carry weight, my ship is at max carry weight, and I am at max carry weight. It's probably a good idea if I go sell off. So a few different ways to go about doing this. And I'll show you the way that I go about selling off my gear. It is far from optimized, but it's fairly easy and straightforward. So to clear out an inventory, you can sell items or you can store items. Items that you store are not necessarily available to you when you're like trying to craft particular things. Or if you're trying to research, then those resources might not be available to you. But having them sitting somewhere and then being able to go pick them up at some point is a good thing. And what I'm specifically talking about is resources. So for now, at this point in the playthrough, I'm not going to be researching much and I'm not going to be crafting much. So I can store those resources. However, if I pick them up, I'm going to be way over my carry weight. However, once I'm over my carry weight, I can travel to the lodge. It will put me right outside the door. I can walk up to my bedroom and store them. Okay, but first I want to go down to New Atlantis, which is the ship dock. And I'm going to land there first. Okay, and now here at this Trade Authority kiosk is real close to where you spawn in. So you can start selling items here. Now, one thing that you don't want to, and here we can, just to go, we can sell off all of these books that have value that we randomly picked up. The rest of the slates you can keep or you can sell, it doesn't really matter. They don't have any carry weight, so I don't really care about whether I keep them or not. The rest of the stuff that I have here, the Inferno Mine, I don't care about. And the rest of the stuff is pretty much optimized. Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, and this is where all of my carry weight is coming from, is from my resources. But what I can do is, now that Sarah's running up to me here, I can talk to her.
To drop some stuff into my bag.
And I'm going to start taking spacesuits, packs, helmets, and that's it. I'm going to leave the weapons there for now.
Bye for now.
Okay, and here I'm going to sell all of those things that I just picked up. There's not a lot of gold here, credits here, to be able to use. But I want to sell off what I can here and use up all of those credits. Okay, and I'm not carrying any... Oh, I did pick up Heller's cutter, which, compared to the regular cutter, is the exact same. So I don't really need it or care about it. Okay, so there's still 977 left.
Yeah,
Whoops.
what is it? Talk to you later.
I'm going to sell from the ship inventory and again sell off the same things. Okay, I don't want to sell off either one of those two. But the packs I can start selling. Okay, and now there are only 36 credits left. Okay. So now from here, I can get back on my ship and actually I don't have to get back. Yes, I do. Actually, I take that back. I do have to be on board my ship. For this to work. And I can take all of the resources here off of the Razorleaf. And from here, I can fast travel to the lodge. If you're on your ship, okay. Do I have to be in space for this to work? Okay, I might have to be in space for it to work. But if you're over your carry weight, actually, I don't know why I was doing that. We'll go check it and just make sure. If you're over your carry weight while you're on your ship, you can land at the lodge. It just might not be letting me fast travel inside of here.
We have
So if it gives you the travel icon as opposed to the land icon, two different things.
Looks peaceful from up here, doesn't
And it's probably going to ask me to do a scan.
it?
Nope, it doesn't. Okay. So from here, I can land at the lodge. Previously, I was trying to travel. That's what the icon said, and it wasn't going to let me do that while I was over my carry weight. But I can land out in front of the lodge while I'm severely over my carry weight.
Look at this place. It's just as we left it. You know, I've often wondered who keeps the lodge so meticulously clean.
So now this storage inventory here, I can store all of my resources in it. Now I'm down below my carry weight, and now I can fast travel wherever I want. So I'm going to fast travel to the residential district first. And now I'm going to start selling off weapons and that sort of stuff. Centaurian arms. Which is right over here, only buys weapons. They do not buy spacesuits, packs, helmets, or anything like that. And Centaurian Arms does not buy melee weapons. They only buy ranged weapons. So that's why you don't want to be selling any of your weapons or anything like that at the trade kiosk, because this vendor has a lot of gold or a lot of credits, and they can't buy all of those things anyway. Okay. So here I can sell from ship inventory here, and this is all the stuff sitting back on my ship. So I didn't have to tote these all the way out here. Now, the Bridger is nice. It's a seriously high damage, up close type of heavy weapon that uses some fairly rare ammunition. So it's something interesting to keep along with you for something that gets up close and personal to you, because the accuracy is not great. However, the modifications on this certainly help that. But the rest of these things, I can just sell off. And you can see I'm going to eat up the credits up there pretty fast. Okay, now you can see that there's nothing else that I can sell. I'm not going to sell the Bridger. I'm going to keep it. So now go talk to Sarah.
Hey,
And pick up all the weapons from her.
dropping off a few choice items? Until later.
I'm sure you already. Only the finest collection of armaments in the settled systems.
And then selling these off. So the Cutlass is probably an upgrade over whatever I have, the Rescue Axe, but just barely. And again, it doesn't really matter. I'm not really interested much in my melee weapons. I don't ever use them. I haven't experimented enough to know if there is like the one-shot sneak up behind somebody and it triggers a cutscene type of assassinations like there were in Skyrim and that sort of stuff. The epic shotgun here, it's got cornered and hand loading. Yeah, not something I'm interested in. Okay, and that's it. So now all the weapons are sold and all that sort of stuff. So now all I have left on me is miscellaneous stuff. And to sell off miscellaneous stuff, you can go to the mass district. And immediately turn around. And go to the well. Now there's another way you can do this by going to the commercial district and going to Jemison Mercantile and then using the 5,000 credits there, and then right next to Jemison Mercantile is an elevator to bring you down here to the well as well. No pun intended. So you can do it both ways, but what I found is that for the most part, the Trade Authority has enough credits to buy everything that you have left on you. So I'm going to sell from my ship inventory first. Oh, it looks like I left a couple of things here. So, oh, because there were melee weapons. Okay, so now I've upped my commerce to 25. So before I sell anything else,
You need anything else?
Sick, doesn't it?
I want to spend another skill point in commerce. And now it says I need to sell 75 unique items.
Thing about the trade
So
business?
now we can start
Of course,
selling again.
Of course.
Okay, so selling off some other things from... I don't want to sell either one of those, and I forgot to pick them up so I could put them in my storage. But the rest of these I do want to sell. Okay, and now we can start selling all of these things that I picked up. I hope I didn't... No, I didn't sell my Digipix. And you can see that as I'm doing this, I'm just leveling up that sell 75 unique items listing. Okay. So I can also sell the food. And the constellation I want to keep just for sentimental value, and the Tracker Alliance because it's a better suit. I can play around with modding it once I get enough of that up, and the Bridger I'm going to end up taking so I can keep myself. Whoops, I wanted to sell the rest of my items. So don't have anything here, nothing apparel. So now here, notes, I can sell off. And you can see it's still going up and up. And I still have my Digipix. And here, there are going to be some items in here that I don't need. When you're talking about what items of aid to keep, what's important are these icons. If it's got an icon on it, then it can be used to treat an affliction of some sort, and you definitely want to keep those. The rest of the items, you can look and see if there's anything important from a status effect it gives you. I haven't found any of them to be very useful. Except for heart is important. 20% health and 200 damage resistance for 2 minutes. If you get into a sticky situation, you can inject that quickly. This has weapon accuracy and damage. Paramour's companion affinity. Ship parts are needed to repair your ship while you're on board. Squall can be useful in a couple of specific instances in particular, but Amp is normally better than Squall, but the 20% damage is kind of nice. Synapse Alpha is nice when you're doing research. You can inject one of these before you go to your research tab, and then you won't need as many resources to institute a research project.
The Trade Authority appreciates your visit.
And then take the last of the stuff. Make sure there's whatever we have left here from Sarah.
Want to see what I'm carrying?
Okay, so nothing left on Sarah. So we're all sold out here.
Bye for now.
And that's what I mean by coming
It's
down here
cliche,
first.
but it's true. Be
As
my
you get higher level gear and that sort of stuff, you're going to run out of these credits a little faster. But for now, early game, you can just come straight down here as opposed to going to Jemison Mercantile first and then coming down here. So I always want to check and see if we have anything else in particular down here from a weapon perspective to buy, and I accidentally clicked on that. Anti-personnel is nice. It's great, but it doesn't have armor piercing or semi-automatic, so the amount of damage you're going to do with it is not as much. But I do want to look at the modified versions of stuff down here to see if there's anything else in particular. As you level up, more different types of weapons are going to become available to you. The weapon levels are dependent upon the adjective in front of them. So you're going to have modified, you're going to have advanced, things like that tell you which of the 4 tiers of basic weapon it is. The higher the tier in front of it, the higher its stats are going to be. Its base damage especially is going to be. So as you level up, you're going to see those start to go up in value and up in damage. So you want to be constantly checking to see if they're available. So now we're going to head back to the Narian system here now that we're empty, and we're going to head to Polvo and jump in.
Welcome to Freestar Space. We're gonna do a quick scan for contraband, and you can be on your way.
The other thing about the Razorleaf is that it has a shielded cargo section, which means that you have a % chance if you're carrying contraband, which are marked with gold steel looking icons on the item when you inspect it. If you put them in your hold, you can't be carrying them in your inventory, but if you put them in the cargo hold, there's a % chance to evade the scan. And it depends on how much of it you're carrying as to what percentage that is, but it's normally somewhere around a 50%, a 40 to 50% chance to evade the scan, all the way up to a 60% chance if you're only carrying one or a small value item out of it. So you can now run contraband if you'd like. So we're going to head here and drop onto the crashed ship.
Gear looks green, ready to land.
And you can see you can watch my O2 bar and see what jumping and boosting in the air does. Sorry, got distracted there. And you can loot these, especially for spice. Okay, but as you're... And this one looks like it's going to run away from me. Okay. But as you're running and you jump and then boost, you can see while you're in the air, your O2 replenishes. This works really well when you're on a planet that has less than 1G because you can stay in the air long enough to get all of your O2 back But if you're on a planet that's a 1G planet, you don't stay in the air long enough to get nearly enough back, and you'll still run out. It will extend your distance that you can go, but it won't necessarily be an infinite run type of thing.
Oh, hey, it's you. Here I thought you were some pirate coming back to kill me. Lucky me, right?
And don't leave out any details.
Man, I was so terrified when I got pulled on board that pirate ship. Barrett was all, "Sorry, brother, I'll get us out of this. Trust me." Not what you and I would call a plan, necessarily. Oh, I'm getting to that. He tells me we need to start pretending to fight each other. Trick the pirates into thinking they need to come in before one of us gets killed. I just remember him shouting, "This kid is a killer. How am I supposed to defend myself against these early whites? He's gonna bite my face off." I mean, I didn't think it would work, but they came in. All of a sudden, we were wrestling with two of them. Barrett reached for one of their guns. Bingo. Blasted the pilot right in the back. Through to the flight console. He dropped orbit like a rock off a high rise. I blacked out. And when I came to, there he was, smiling like it was just another day on the job. You missed the fun part, Heller. I mean, I go through all the trouble of saving your butt, and you weren't even awake to notice. Then he did the little finger gun thing. Well, no, I don't think so. I caught him holding his ribs a few times. Favored his left leg a bit, you know? Oh, yeah. Probably should have talked about that first. Did I mention I'm on a lot of painkillers? So, I was real excited when a ship showed up. Then, less excited when I realized it was a Crimson Fleet ship. And then, really less excited when Barrett said, "It's okay, I got this." He mumbled something to him, then they were all gone. I was drifting in and out. But, I think I heard the word ransom. I was drifting in and out, but yeah, I think so. Got a signal from the ship before they grav jumped. Guessing it was Barrett. Haven't really been in a good space to have a listen. Here you go. Hey, I should come with you, right? I don't think anyone else is coming. Yeah, just, don't ask me to operate any heavy machinery for a while. Give me a minute. I think the worst of it is... Yeah, I'll be alright. I'll be alright. Ready to wisecrack with the best of them. Let me know when you want to head out.
And again, you have an option here to recruit Heller, just like you did
There might be
Lin.
a spot for me on your ship? I gotta get off this rock.
And you can see he's in for geology and outpost engineering, whereas Lin was outpost management. So the two of them together on an outpost are going to really help improve a lot of the things going on with it.
Whew. Oh, I'm glad to hear you say that. For a second there, I thought you were going to leave me behind. What's on the agenda today?
And again, I could assign him to the ship, but there's no real need at this point. He's better off hanging around until I get an outpost to deal with. Still leaving Sarah assigned to the ship, though.
You got it. Catch you on the flip side, boss. Thanks for letting me tag along.
So here, there are some things that we can pick up, because again, we're still working on our commerce skill, and some crafting items we can pick up as well. And you know, I've never gone around and looked. Doesn't look like it. To see if there was any way to get inside the ship. So yeah, it doesn't look like there is. So it wants us to read one of the notes we picked up. You mean as far as their skills go, Except, not that I'm aware of.
You've given the fleet a lot of trouble, Barrett.
Hey, since when is surviving being attacked causing trouble? Isn't that just fighting back? Hey, pilot, could you move your arm a little bit to the left? I can't make out the console.
Don't move! He's trying to figure out our destination. Probably transmitting this conversation right now while we're still in orbit.
Well, yeah. Thought I was making that pretty obvious. Okay, put the gun down. I'm done. See? My retinas are pointing away from the console and towards this lovely view of space we have out the window.
Tie him up. Once we get back to the base, the fun starts.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of, able to upgrade their skills or anything like that. You can obviously upgrade the equipment that they're carrying and that sort of stuff, but I haven't seen their skills are able to be upgraded. So now it wants me to travel to Bessel 3. And we'll go and land here and see what these pirates are up to with Barrett. Okay, now here, as soon as you get off your ship, you're going to be, well, a couple of things. First, it's an extreme cold environment. What are they shooting at? Interesting. I've never seen them fire on anything previously when I've been here. So I don't know what they're firing on. And Sarah, please. Okay, well, whatever it was. No, they're still shooting. Interesting. They really don't like that rock. Okay, so you notice that there is a pirate up there. You can barely see him up there acting up. And you can barely see it. I think that's it. We're going to go check that out. So we're going to go on a flank over here. And it's been a while since I did this mission. But I think that's where it is. Okay, so I should be able to snipe the pirate out up here. There he is. Come on. This is where the limitations of this short scope tend to come in a little bit because you can barely see him up there. So focusing the headshots is a little hard. Okay. So there might be somebody else coming up here that we've alerted. But we'll just take it slow as we're walking up here to make sure nobody crosses over this ridge. I think we're fine. Okay, so we got a military crate up here. And now we have a really nice overwatch position here, where we can see most of the rest of the pirates that are outside here.
There you are.
Okay, and looks like he's going to want to run away. Take this time to reload.
Bring it on.
Okay, so it looks like he's content to just hang out down there.
Not fair.
Now you can sneak in to this center area here, and right there is a console. I think that's it. It might be just visible there. And if you sneak in there, you can shut off the turrets that are out there. You can actually redesignate the friend or foe settings so that when you get attacked, the turrets will attack whoever's attacking you. So you can play around with the base defenses a little bit here as well. So keep that in mind. I just find it's a lot quicker just to take the high ground up here, and you can shoot over everybody's cover that they're trying to hide behind and that sort of stuff from up here. So just like we were doing previously, we're gonna loot the heck out of everything because again, we're trying to level up our commerce skill. So if you see it, loot it. And we are still going to have to be careful because that That guy is still out here. So we'll go deal with him here in a second. Okay, and our lockpicking, we've explained how to do lockpicking previously, so I'm not going to focus on this too much, but that's the inner ring, and now I need 4 on the outer ring. So that looks like it. Okay, and here's your interface, so you can update the friend or foe settings. So you can recalibrate, or you can remove them entirely, which means they'll just shoot at everybody. Oh. Okay, so he decided to make an appearance here. And then he promptly went and ran away again. Oh, I see him. Just barely. Nope, he went and hid again. So we'll just walk around the outside here and flank him and get rid of him.
What? Who got this?
I think he's down. He is. Now we should be free to loot everything and everything out here.
The Crimson Fleet's just a bunch of pirates that masquerades as a navy.
I normally wouldn't pick up food, but again, I'm gonna go sell all of this stuff. And here again, I'm just picking up everything that is not nailed down. And this is another one of those locations where I don't need to loot all of those plates. Normally, stuff that's all stacked together is normally going to all be the same. But stuff that is in different places, even though it's got the same name, might be different. So I'm just going to pick up everything real quick. Again, I wish you could open doors from inside your scanner. It would make looting all of this stuff so much easier.
Rubbish already.
I always love listening to Sarah get upset when I become overloaded. And there is useful stuff that's in here sometimes, crafting supplies and that sort of stuff, but for the most part, it's all just a horrible amount of junk. And see, this is what I mean by, like, weapons cases that have physical models inside of them. You can't loot them through your scanner. You have to open them first, just like doors. Okay, so here, I think this one's pretty easy. Okay, so Crimson Fleet had orders to come in here and clear this place out, which they did. Okay, and I think that about gets me... Somebody's having a fight over how pirates aren't cleaning up after themselves. Who'd have thought? Don't forget the crafting supplies that are in here. We know we have to go in there. Okay, so here and there. And then here. And here. Can't unlock the expert lock. I think we've probably picked up enough garbage to get us at least our next level. Playing cards are great. They take up hardly any carry weight, and they're unique. You don't want to pick up dumbbells and stuff like that. They just weigh too much. And this is the room that we were just, the set of rooms we were just in, right? Yes. Yes, we did search that. So the upper floor. And I'm just going to go through here looking for any crafting materials like the drilling rig. The drilling rigs are very important, actually. Molecular sieve. And you can see that we are overloaded, so... This is all... unique. Okay, so now let's head inside.
Keep your eyes open. We're in the Crimson Fleet's territory.
When you have a moment, I'd like to speak to you.
You're going to get that periodically from Sarah. Randomly, she'll pop up with a mission activity for you to talk to her.
Oh yeah. There's no certainty
start getting out there, the laws of physics kind of turn into suggestions.
Pulling my leg again, right? No exaggerations this time.
Unicorn. Not.
Wait. Yeah, with some magic.
I'm gonna wait for my O2 to come back, and then I'm gonna move down here around the corner, and we can start this.
Riding on it too?
Okay, it was more of an extremophile than a big shit.
Encounter here.
My point still stands.
So
need an
you can
open
see
mind.
they're not marked
Go
as
into the far
hostile.
reaches of space too tightly wound.
So there are different ways to play this. And I played it one way in my other one, in my personal playthrough. So let's see if I can go in here and talk to these guys.
Holy shit. You actually found me.
I wish I could say this is the first time this has happened with Barrett. But, well, it isn't.
Well, this is turning into a regular Constellation party, isn't it? I should have brought drinks. Matsura the Grim here and I actually have a lot in common.
Both escape artists. Being captured by Sistef myself plenty of times.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Relativity. We're all just creatures of the universe trying to get away from what's after us. You know, it's actually been kind of nice. Matsura the Grim here is a great host.
No sense letting people's last moments be unpleasant.
See, that's what I like about you, Matsura. Real Renaissance man.
I have enjoyed our time together, Barrett. But I can't just let you go with nothing to show for it. Is Constellation willing to pay ransom in exchange for this man's freedom?
Okay, so this is... I did not play my personal playthrough this way, but you have a persuade option, and Sarah can also talk for you here, and possibly negotiate the price. I'm going to try and persuade and see how this goes. Normally, if you get, before you get into conversations, you want to get a quick save, like I had down there at the bottom of the stairs, and you would want to save scum this if you fail your persuasion, but I'm obviously not going to do that, but let's just see how it goes.
You want me to end all this with nothing to show for it?
I don't know if I've explained the persuasion mechanic and how it works, but down at the bottom, quickly, you have, I need 6 persuasion points. I've got 3 turns to get those 6 points. And the green, yellow, or red indicates the difficulty of getting those points. So here I'm going to try and get 2 points out of this and see if it'll work or not.
A ransom isn't about how much one gets along with the hostage.
Okay, so now I'm going to have to get more points. So I can't just go for 1. If I go for 1, I'm going to have to go for a high red number on the last chance. So I can try and go for 4 here.
He does
and it autos. I rolled a 20.
Unusually skilled in that area. Barrett has some good friends, it seems. Very well. You're all free to go.
It's been a real pleasure, Matsura. Really. And good luck out there with all the, you know, hurting people and taking their money.
Okay, so I rolled my first nat 20 of the live stream. I rolled my nat 1 on the armor. So, but here you can pick up all these things. None of these are marked steel.
Okay, that's it. Time to sell the video.
So there's a power circuit here, which is an exotic component. So you definitely want to look through what's here on the table. Again, none of it's going to be marked steel. So see if there are unique crafting materials in here or things like that that you want to pick up.
You're lucky, boss is so generous.
Got nothing to say to you. Matsura is in charge.
You're lucky, boss is so generous.
Okay, and then out here there were a few crates out here to search as well. Okay. So now we're done in here, I'm pretty sure. Just want to take one last look around. Oh, I do have a military crate up here. Don't forget it. And an Authentic manifold. If you're going to be doing outpost building, Authentic manifolds are an important resource. So make sure you pick those up if you find them. The 4 except I don't know if you noticed, I rolled a critical success. Every time that you try and make one of those persuasion rolls, it checks to see with a random number generator if you're above the threshold to pass it or not. But there is, just like in BG3, there's a nat 1 where you can critically fail it, and a nat 20 where it doesn't matter how many points it's worth, you automatically succeed. So on that, if you looked at the bottom left, it said critical success when I clicked on the +4. Even though it didn't give me enough points to reach 6, I rolled a nat 20 on that check. So it automatically completed it and gave me and succeeded on the persuasion, and I was able to continue on. So it's kind of like the auto persuade. Once you complete enough persuasion checks, the auto persuade button down on the bottom will fill up and be highlighted, and you can auto complete it with a critical success just by hitting the R button. Okay, so here I'm going to do what I did previously, in that I'm going to hop off at New Atlantis. Oh, I need to be back in my ship. I forgot, because I'm overloaded. I need to be back in my ship to be able to take off. Otherwise, it's going to count me as traveling, not as landing. So I could give some stuff to Sarah to carry, but my ship's right out here, so.
I think it's ironic that UC SysDef hunts the Crimson Fleet when it was the UC that gave rise to the pirates in the first place.
And you can see that as you go, your health goes down. You can see down there on the right, my health is slowly going down. Doesn't really matter at this point, though. I'm so close to my ship, and when I get inside, I can rest in the bed and get all of my health back, so. Movement is not really nearly as much of a problem, because see, I can just go to bed and sleep for 1 hour. 2 things are going to happen. I'm going to get all my health back. I'm also going to get the well-rested bonus. For those of you who are not familiar with Skyrim, whenever you sleep in a bed that you own, you get the well-rested bonus. That status effect, and you can go in here and look at your status effects. The well-rested bonus is a 10% XP gain for the next 25 minutes. So it's always good. I almost never remembered to do it in Skyrim, but if you want to maximize your leveling up, then you really every 25 minutes need to go to a bed that you own, either on your ship or in your room at the lodge, or if you have an apartment or a penthouse, and go sleep in it for at least an hour to get the well-rested bonus, and then head out and to maximize your XP gains. Also, once you've completed a romance, you can, at night, your romance character will go to a bed to go sleep. If you sleep in that same bed with them, then you get an additional bonus above that. Something, it used to be called Lover's Comfort in Skyrim. I think there's a slightly different name for it now, but it's a 15% bonus increase to your XP. So you can really start maximizing that more if you remember to utilize those things, which I just never do. So. It used to be one of those things that before you did things like trying to level up alchemy and all of that sort of stuff in Skyrim, that you would always make sure you had the well-rested bonus or the lover's comfort bonus before you went and leveled up a skill. Here, leveling up your skills is not based on XP, it's based on doing things, so it's not nearly as necessary as it was in Skyrim. So here's selling, and again, we're going to go through and start selling off all this miscellaneous, and you want to get, it's going to, oh, I don't have, that's my fault. I don't have enough vendor credits. The vendors reset their credits every 48 hours of universal time. Now that's very similar to what it was in Skyrim. Here on Jemison, however, 1 local hour is equal to 2 hours of universal time. So if you sleep for 24 local hours, that's 50 hours. So all you'd really need to do is sleep. So yeah, 47.55. So you will need to sleep for a full 24 here. And then the vendor's credits will reset. So when people tell you that it's only 24 hours to reset vendor credits, that's only on Jemison. And that's because of the time dilation here. It's 48 hours of universal time that needs to be slept. So in Skyrim, there used to be a trick where you could click your mouse on the bar and extend it out to so many hours, and then holding the mouse, you could hit the sleep key, and then as soon as you hit it, you could take your mouse, still clicking it down, and drag the bar all the way down to 1 hour and then release it, and it would sleep. It would basically input the number of hours you slept.
Hey there.
So you could do like this, drag the bar all the way out here, and then you could hit the sleep key and then drag the bar all the way down and release it. And as soon as you hit the sleep key, it would register however many hours you were trying to sleep. But wherever you release the mouse is however many hours it was actually going to physically sleep. So you could cheat the system by dragging it out here, hitting the sleep key, and then dragging your mouse all the way to the other side. Unfortunately, they fixed that.
Well, hey there.
One of the
Nice
completely random things that Bethesda fixed, they fixed that sleep mechanic, so you can't pull the old Skyrim way of sleeping for an extended amount of time in just 1 hour.
Got anything you need to offload?
That's correct. So whenever you're gaining XP, that bonus from well rested is going to apply to that. However, like when I'm selling items here, I'm not gaining XP while I'm doing it, so it doesn't matter if I have the well rested bonus or not. So here as I'm selling these things, I'm going to pay attention to the pop-up. So there it just popped up for 75 items, so now I'm going to immediately exit out. I'm going to head to commerce. I'm going to unlock rank 3, and now I'm at 150, and I still have another unique skill point. So if I have 150 unique items in my inventory, I can completely level up commerce here. But I don't think I have that many. I don't. I want to skip the digipicks. Make sure you don't sell those. And this is one where if you're on mouse and keyboard, you just kind of hold your finger over the E key or the confirm key or even the enter key, just so that you can, if you reach something that has more than five or more, you can quickly confirm it when you sell it. Okay, and see, that only used 700 credits to sell off 60 or 70 items. So, and here we'll do the same thing. We don't need any of these. We can check our aid. We've got some food in here probably. I don't care about the alien broth. And yes, 300 years in the future, they still have Raisin Bran. Okay, so I've got to be getting fairly close, I think. Okay, so I've sold 113. I don't think I have anything. I don't have anything in here that I want to sell. Okay. So I didn't quite make it here. But now I have... Yeah, I've sold off all the other stuff. Yeah, your keys are going to stay with you. You can put them away, but you can't sell them. And that's the same as previous. So now it's just got a bunch of weapons. Yes. That are additional in here. I'm still overloaded a little bit, so I can see if I can sell off some of these weapons here. I don't need the arc welder. It's an energy weapon, kind of fires just like the cutter does. Oh, we got a nice dagger here, and it's instigating. So I'll keep that and get rid of my rescue axe. Okay, suppressor, maelstrom, large magazine, don't need. Extended magazine and poison, not really important, but I can't sell it anyway. Yeah, I don't have any. I've cleared out my ship entirely. There's nothing on it right now. So I do need to go back there and pick up some items though, because I do want to... I'm going to go back and store all of this stuff in my room. The resources, and I also want to store this constellation gear that's in here.
When you have the time, of course.
So before I go back here, all of this stuff that's in here, I don't want to take the ship parts, but the rest of it I do want to take. And now again, I'm overloaded. So I can just set course to Jemison. That will take me to orbit. You don't have to sit in the chair and go through the cutscenes. And now I should be able to land at the lodge. So that's the way to get around the I can't fast travel because I'm encumbered mechanic. This is kind of like going to the guy with the cart in Skyrim, and he'd let you travel to different cities even though you were encumbered when you couldn't fast travel using the map.
Sorry for the wait.
And again, it doesn't matter what happens with my health, because I have a bed right there. I'm going to store all my resources in here, and now I can store the additional spacesuits that I'm going to hold on to. The Constellation is really just for role-playing, sentimental purposes, basically. And the rest of it is all good. The original Aquila charter, there's a reason to hold on for that, and the emergency transmission I can sell. And now here I can just sleep for an hour and get all my health back. And all your O2 and everything back. So, last thing I'm going to do here is redo my favorites. The Solstice I'm going to sell. The Modified Bridger I'm going to keep as well. And we're going to run a couple of minutes long, but I can go down here and finish off this little end of this quest here.
I am at your service.
You feel it a bit, can't you? Ever since I found the second one, had the visions. Being around them is just comforting. So hey, I'm still not 100%, plus I feel guilty dragging you into all of this. Why don't I stick around? Help you get adjusted to the weird corners of the universe. Marvelous.
Okay, so now Barrett is available for our crew. So, I'm going to hit tab. If you look at your ship, down on the bottom, you have the C key for your crew. Now, Barrett's unassigned. He has starship engineering and particle beam weapons, both really high. So you definitely want to assign him to your ship. Okay. Now, Sarah, because she's a companion right now, she's with me, and she's not shown as... That's why she's not shown as being assigned to the ship right now, because she's not in it. Once I dismiss her as my companion, then she will go back to being in the ship, and she will take up the second of the 2 crew slots that are on the Razorleaf. Okay. So I think that gets us to a really good stopping point. What we're going to do next week is start looking at a couple of these other ones, and we're going to probably do the Empty Nest next, because that's going to overlap with our first faction that we are going to join. And that's part of the interaction that we have at the start of the Empty Nest quest is going to get us started on that faction quest line as well. So we'll go finish up the Empty Nest, and then that will start the faction quest, and we will probably end up starting that faction quest line next week as well. The Empty Nest is going to take us a bit to do, but kind of like today, maybe an hour and a half worth of questing and you're done. And then the second half, we will actually be able to get started on the next quest line after that. I'm not going to give you any spoilers at this particular time. Those of you who are in your playthroughs kind of know what it is. But I think that's going to give us a good point to start with next time. So did you get the stuff from the lodge basement? Oh, yeah. We can talk about that at the end of the day, except I'm not going to go get that. There is a way to go get it, and yes, you know that you can get it without picking the lock, because it's a Bethesda game, so why would you have to pick the lock to get into it? You know that there's ways to pick up items in Bethesda games, like putting buckets on people's heads so they can't see you and all that sort of good stuff. There are plenty of other great content creators who have already mentioned that. I will say for everybody here who's watching and who's going to be watching the video later, if you want to go find out how to get the Mark 1 armor that's in the basement of the lodge, without having to have the expert skill to pick the lock or the master skill to pick the lock, then feel free to go search that and you'll find out how to do it. It's really easy. I'm just not going to do it until I can actually pick the lock, is the way I'm going to go about it. I try not to be too cheesy about a whole lot of things, but again, I need to tell you guys about it. I'm just not necessarily going to do it here in this playthrough. So, but thanks for the question. I certainly appreciate it. So again, as always, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me this evening, especially later on at night. I certainly do appreciate y'all being here. Without your support, none of this would be possible. So this is me, Commander Jorval, saying until next time, fare thee well.